about James chapter 4, and we really want to discuss how in this chapter James gives us a kind of a pattern or maybe a model for how to submit ourselves to God and how to make sure that we're living for God, not just living for ourselves and what we want to do. You know, I think too often, Tracy, we plan our lives out, and we plan them out for a lot more than just today. We plan for what's coming in the weeks and the months, maybe even the years ahead. And I think we need to remember, make some plans, but kind of be flexible in those plans, because God definitely has a plan for our life. And I think if we submit to His will, we're going to be richly rewarded with a life that's far beyond what we thought we were going to be doing.
Absolutely. And I wonder what it is just about the human nature, Carl, that makes us feel that need to tidy things up and know what's coming. You know, and I think that one of the reasons why we plan is because if we're planning and we know what's coming down the road, it gives us that sense of security that we long for so much. But God hasn't really called us to security, has He?
Yep. God's called us to trust in Him.
Right. And when we do that, it can be terrifying. We just recently got a response on the Facebook wall from a dear girl named Crystal, and Crystal shared with us and everybody who was able to read the post that she feels God calling her to step out and to witness and to do things. And I remember that she said it's exciting, yet it's terrifying. And that is true. A lot of times, taking that leap of faith and relying on God's plan for us, rather than tidying everything up and knowing, well, I'm going to do this today and that tomorrow, kind of like what James talks about. It is exciting, but it can be terrifying too.
Absolutely. You know, I think we're motivated to do things in our lives by probably one of two things: getting excited or being afraid of something, right? And I think, like you said, our natural earthly reaction to kind of plan for the future and make our way through uncertainty, you know, where we have that fear, but we want to, you know, store things up and be safe and make plans. And I think we need to let loose of the reins. And I think we need to plan and take care of our family and take care of our situation. But we have to submit to God's plan, submit to His will for our life.
Absolutely. In the study booklet, and I want to share with those listeners today who are not actually going along and doing the study of James with us. Some people are just doing the online study and they haven't taken time or didn't have the means to download or print out the actual study book. But in one of the lessons for chapter 4, when we were talking about this, about our need to control, it says, what if we truly believed His plan really does end up prospering us? How would our lives look different? And I think that it's kind of like what you said. If we just let go, we don't feel that need to build up, and we wouldn't be hoarding, like James has already told us that we shouldn't be doing. One of the other questions said, what if we really believed that seeking His kingdom and His righteousness would result in everything else of value being given to us? How would our lives look different? What if we just simply believed everything God told us in His Word? How would our lives look different?
If we come to sense with our mortality and how small we are, we don't know what's going to happen tomorrow. So why can't we live for God today, right now, and seek out His will for our lives? You know, pray to Him and focus on Him and look to Him for the planning we need to be doing for the future.
Absolutely. Because we know that if we do that, if we let go of the reins and put it in His hands, He's going to lead us in places that we're never going to find on our own.
Absolutely.
You know, levels of intimacy with Him, plans for ministry that we never imagined that could be ours, health and prosperity, not so much in physical but spiritual health and prosperity, because He doesn't ever promise us to be, you know, healthy throughout our entire life, but spiritual health and just prosperity, where we are given all of those promises in His book that He says are ours, that sometimes when we're too busy doing our own thing and going our own way, we completely miss out on.
Yeah, I think, you know, clearly probably the best reward is the intimacy that we gain with God and with Christ our Savior. But I think what sometimes we forget is that the treasure and the reward of when we serve others, you know, if that's a big focus of what we're doing, is providing to others that have less than we do and serving their needs, being outwardly focused instead of inwardly focused, there's such a rich reward. There's such a treasure in that goes beyond any kind of earthly treasure we could ever imagine.
Absolutely. All right. Well, one more chapter to go, and then we're going to be wrapping things up in James. We, again, are so glad that you joined us, and we will see you next week as we discuss James chapter 5.